Heiner, can you hear me? Let's see, I will unmute you, Heiner.
In Zoom rein kann. Also
Okay, now I can hear you.
Ja, immer was gewählt wird und das ist Person so. So, super Passwort. 2018. Was ist das in einer Weise? Nee, auch nicht. Nein. Im Zweifel hänge ich dich hier an meinen Hub. Aber ich kann nicht rechtzeitig. Denn die einen lesen sich moderiert spät und der andere ist in einem Moment an. Fang doch einfach schon mal an. Joy weiß alles. Und wir sehen, was los ist.
Am besten, du konzentrierst dich darauf, ne?
Ja.
Gut. Ja, was soll ich sagen? Gefällt es euch hier?
Ja, es gefällt uns.
Ja, und so. Ja, gut, aber wenn es länger dauern würde, würden die Leute sagen, hab ich nicht. Ja, danke. Ja, toll. Ich meine, ich werde das noch lange mit euch tragen, insofern dauert es länger. Ja. Das müsst ihr ja selber machen. Ja, das hat jetzt von letzten Jahr erstaunlich, wie nachhaltig das Ding ist. Genau. Ich sag mal, letztes Jahr die verhandeln, die da waren, irgendwie so 30, 40 Leute oder 5 oder 6. Sofort in Kooperation und in Freundschaft. Ja. Und das sind genau die zwei Sachen, die wir brauchen. Und Vision auch. Gemeinsame Basis und gemeinsames Ziel. Also, das gehen wir zusammen. Also, auf die Konferenzen ja, aber wie auch immer, ne? Also, auch jetzt.
Hello, Tammy. So for some reason, I can't hear you. I can hear Heiner.
How about now?
Your microphone level might be really low.
Mine?
Yes.
Weil wir arbeiten auf einem anderen Richtung und da eine Menge Projekte in Nova. Da bewirbt der Kulturhauptstadt Europas.
Hi, Heiner. How are you?
I'm fine. Let's wait another 3 or 5 minutes.
Okay.
At the moment, there's in a group of
Are you having trouble hearing me, Sam?
I can hear Heiner, and now I can hear you, but you're very faint.
Hmm.
Okay, so
I'm not sure. I can
just like
that.
Ah, okay. Das ist jetzt überall was, ja. Standardsatz. Gestern auch drauf eingeschlafen. Ich wollte nochmal so kurz.
Guck mal hier. Ja. Hier ist die 374.
Okay, ich frage jetzt nicht nach E-Mail-Adresse.
Zoom.
In Zoom.
In Zoom.
Okay.
Zoom US.
Wo gibt es das? Checken.
Noch kein Zoom-Kontakte. Du hast keine Kontakte, okay, das brauchst du auch nicht.
Hier unten.
Also ich kann den Kontakt hinzufügen. Das ist eine, was ich in der
Das ist wahrscheinlich, ich vergesse das schon. Aber gestern schon nur noch vergammelte Soßen.
Ich glaube, das ist nicht.
I think, how's the audio now? Okay. I think it's
Much better.
I think it's because Heiner's sound when it's live is has a lot of sound artifacts in it. As does your end, actually, as well.
Und das ist jetzt,
Ist das eine ID?
Ja. Ist eine ID?
Spannend, also wir haben jetzt, ja, finde ich schon.
3,
in den USA, weiß ich nicht.
3, 5, 118.
118.
wir hätten das auch direkt live machen können mit einer anderen Organisation. Es gibt in Humanitarian Makers, was hauptsächlich die Naomi Lundmann in San Francisco. Und das ist eine Organisation, die arbeitet.
Hello, Ines.
Makern von überall. Ja.
Wie sagt man Ines?
Weil das die Eintrittsschwelle, die absolut auf jeden Fall runter. Also du kannst sagen, wenn du jetzt zurückfährst, nach wo auch immer du herkommst, sagst du, ich bin Maker for Humanity. Cool. Das hast nicht unterschrieben, das ist einfach eine Einstellung. Und es ist aber natürlich hilfreich, irgendwie auch eine Organisation zu haben, die rechtsfähig ist. Und deswegen haben wir überlegt, wir kooperieren direkt mit Humanitarian Makers in den USA. Die haben schon alle Kontakte von MIT zu den ganzen Berkeley University, UCLA und also die ganzen großen. Die arbeiten mit Mitteln von der Gesellschaft für technisches Deutschland. Und die können aber keine europäischen Förderanträge stellen, weil die nicht in Europa präsent sind. Sein könnte. Die sind sehr technisch, die machen hauptsächlich Open Source Manuals, die sie dann technisch prüfen. Und ich möchte das, wenn ich höre mit deinem Echo, wenn es denn hier, wo ist denn das Mikro eigentlich? Da ist das Mikro.
Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Heiner, I can hear you fine.
Perfect. So I'm here. Könnt ihr muten?
Okay, perfekt. Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you, Heiner, but it may be that both sound open together might be a problem, but we'll just test it.
So maybe you can go.
Okay, we all go. No, we go all on the sofa, close together. Yeah, we have one account only.
He's speaking.
I stop now.
No, I switched this off. Da kann man ja hören.
All right. Am I muted or what?
No, you are, yeah.
I'm on.
You're live.
Oh, great.
We hear you quite well right now.
Of the whole exercise of Makers of Humanities. It's Joy,
Yeah,
and
well,
he's speaking first, and then we introduce the people around.
actually, hello, everybody. Great to see you all around the globe. It's just incredible. We just wondered how this could happen. It's fantastic. And we are at Ferropolis, which is an event location, and it's a renaturated coal mine from the brown coal industry in Germany. And it's flooded, renaturated, and there is a museum for the Anthropocene. So it's the museum of the man-made nature, whatever. And here we have today launched a floating island, which is meant to become a modular open source system for floating islands in any shape or function. And this was our action today. And next week we are at the Maker Fair in Berlin with it. It floats, I can tell you. We were dancing on it with 20, 30 people. And at the moment there is a poem reading on this island. It was immediately evacuated, captured by the cultural people that are meeting here at a lab we have on this weekend. And yeah, so we are kind of in a party modus. Everything works fine. And I'm curious about what I don't know you yet.
I think Tammy should take over and maybe do a little moderation.
Oh, let's see. There is a video. Can you see this?
No, they have seen lots of things already.
Okay, cool.
Tammy, we have very little time. Maybe you start the moderation, and we have 5 people sitting here. Some more are coming, and I think they should briefly introduce themselves, check in.
Wonderful. Thank you, Heiner. Thanks for making this connect between our two groups. And I have been a part of this Global Challenges collaboration where we've been meeting together on Zoom, all of us from around the world, bringing in what we have to look at how we can influence global systems change.
All right.
Yeah, so.
What we do. Great.
Yeah. Perfect. And I'll pass the mic to maybe Sam and Carl for a quick intro, and then maybe we can meet all of you. And as you're sharing, I'd love for you to consider what would be of use for you to harvest and share, because of course we are recording, so you could use it to share a little bit of what you've been up to over these days you've been together.
Great.
Thank you.
Well. At this moment, it won't be suitable, I think, because we are in completely different time zone and mood. But we have had a presentation of the results of 10 target groups we have built for this Makers for Humanity lab, what we're launching right now. And of course, we will evaluate it. And tomorrow we have a media release about these 10 topics and our results. And our plans as well, because it's a lab for cooperation, and so we meet from Austria, Switzerland, and Germany with 150 change makers, and it's just great to see the common ground, and so maybe I just pass the video for them to introduce themselves.
Okay. So hi everybody, my name is Ines. I'm here a participant at the Maker Camp, and I have participated in a group on currencies today and yesterday. We were discussing, well, how can we use the financial system and make it our own, and what are the yeah, what are the categories we want to think in and what we can do in this sense. So we were considering connecting governance and finance to have a voting system in the coin as a possibility for communities to really have more power and start to implement their own things and start to be independent, more independent politically. We have reached we have gathered many questions, haven't reached many finished answers. There is a lot to be done, and the whole camp, yeah, is just so many ideas are popping up, and it's an amazing atmosphere. It's beautiful to meet all these progressive people from all around Germany and Europe. Yeah. So I'll just pass it to Alex.
Hi, thank you.
Yes,
Hello.
thank you.
Nice to meet you. My name is Alex, and I think this is a very incredible place for me because you really meet people from technology, a circular economy, but also we have a lot of people who are from communities, lived there since 20 years, like projects which really worked, and most of them are now really concerned with the soul and the love and how to spread that. And we were really thinking how we can implement that maybe also into technology. And that was, really incredible to feel and to be part of this. And my own work is I'm a producer for virtual reality, and we are making a virtual reality transmedia series about the world in 30 years. So I also have this connection. It should start on social media and then like rabbit hole you into the VR and come back and bring you into action to connect each other. So yeah, for me, fiction and reality kind of meets here also a little bit. And yeah, thanks for this. And I'm very curious to hear you in a second after Georg introduced himself. George, sorry.
Hello, I'm George. Yeah, I am studying global management of social issues in the Netherlands. I'm still German, but I went to the Netherlands to study there, and it's in English, and it's a very inspiring program. And I was dragged to this meeting here by a friend who also studies together global management of social issues. It's a new thing for me. It's a new thing for me, but a lot of thought processes were opened up to me here. A lot of new people, things that I've never heard of, so to say. And I've been working in a group on media and journalism today. And I think the most important thing we have done is to create a comprehensive list of all the alternative newspapers and online platforms and other sort of institutions which work with information in Germany. And I think that's the most important contribution we did, because as we have as we have a comprehensive knowledge base, I think we can be creative more efficiently. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's us, right? That was everybody.
Can we hear you?
No. Awesome. That's fantastic. Maybe I'll give Sam and Carl a chance to introduce themselves as well.
Please.
Carl, you want to go? Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Sam Hahn. I'm a VP of Technology at a company called eGain in Sunnyvale, California. But independent of that, I became familiar with the work of Douglas Carl Engelbart, probably in the early 90s. And Doug is the fellow who is known for the invention of the mouse, this device that we hold in our hands that everyone pushes around the table. But that was only kind of incidental to his work. What he really tried to do, because he recognized this 60 years ago, is that we needed to be able to work together more closely, be different with each other, and be smarter with each other in order to resolve some of the issues that were going to be facing us decades down the road. Well, we are now decades down the road, but we have not proceeded nearly as far as Doug would have liked for us to become more collectively intelligent. So I've tried to become involved in multiple different groups interested in collective intelligence. So this started in the 1991 when I worked with Doug and gave him some support for some of his research. And in 2008, we celebrated the 40th of his demonstrations of what was possible using computer technology. If you look it up, Alan Kay refers to it as the mother of all demos. And it's really a recognition of what could be done with instant collaboration using computers and networking. But this was done in 1968, and we're still working on the vision that was shown in 1968. So I've put on a number of conferences in 2008, 2010, 2013, 2015, hopefully again in 2018, to celebrate Doug's work and to embrace it and then to extend it to keep it alive. And in so doing, I've run across groups that believe in this vision. There's a group in Palo Alto called Serious Conversations that meets on every Wednesday night. That's a combination of somewhere around 50 people, of which about 12 come together on any given night. There's a group called Next Now in the Bay Area that are loosely affiliated as Friends of Doug Engelbart, and that's a mailing list of about 300 people who also get together quarterly. There's a group of a small number of us, among us being Dino Karabag in Oslo, and Alexander Laszlo in Buenos Aires, and Frode Hegland in London, who are also working very closely on Doug's vision. And in fact, Alexander Laszlo is the son of Erwin Laszlo, who is famous from the Club of Budapest days. Alexander recently was the faculty in Buenos Aires, the Institute of Technology in BA, ITBA, and we crafted a PhD program in systemic innovation that Alexander has been leading there. And then recently got involved with this Global Challenges collaboration starting around August of last year, working with Tammy on submitting the proposal to the GCF. So anyway, I'm sorry it's gone so long, but I just wanted to show you my excitement because in various different groups, I like connecting these groups because here and there are people who kind of believe in a similar lovely vision. And I think this is another opportunity to make that bridge happen. So I'm very excited and very excited to meet you.
That's great. Thank you very much. By chance, do you know the humanitarian makers that are just this weekend presenting?
I don't know them. I should, but I want to know them more.
Yeah, you should. I work with Naomi Lundman, who connects this humanitarian makers organization, and we are now up to co-create a European version because it's hard to get European funds for humanitarian challenges if you don't have an NGO here. So this is what we discussed right now. They cooperate with UCLA and with the MIT and all these. So they are quite in a big level, in a high level, scientifically and also with funding. And so it will be very exciting to cooperate with them and start a humanitarian makers NGO in Europe. As we want to keep our Makers of Humanity collective as a free collective. It's so easy to join. It's a club, it's a party, it's a maker space. But we need an NGO to work financially and to cooperate also with entities like universities or governments. And so this is our next step. We will discuss tomorrow what in what kind of organization we want to grow. And I would love to speak further with you in maybe next week something to see where it fits the puzzle.
I'm excited to learn more, and we'll definitely do that.
Yeah. Maybe Alex, you have a different. You're more in the technology sector. I'm maybe you have another, you see another connection, what would fit.
Well, yeah, I was wondering again. I didn't recall the project or this 68 guy. What was his name?
That was Douglas Engelbart, Engelbart. If you look him up, Douglas Carl Engelbart, you'll be fascinated by his biography.
I will. Thank you. Yeah. So as I don't know this guy, I cannot like this. So I'm you know, curious, but I cannot.
Yeah, sure.
I don't have an opinion at the moment.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you. I would love to meet Tammy Lee.
Yes.
Tammy Lee.
So I'll quickly jump in. I am a media experimentalist. Basically, I think that through having these kind of conversations and connecting in real time with people around the world, we can change things. It's for me about sharing ideas and building relationships and connecting the needs and resources that we have, so that we can kind of help to bootstrap each other, because I think many of us all around the world know that we need to do things differently, and so I'm excited about making that visible, helping people to articulate it and to connect with others like you guys just have with Sam, in terms of connecting and sharing what we know and helping to bring connections beyond this circle. And so that's a little bit about me, but I'd invite Carl and Doug to also share.
Okay, well, Doug Engelbart's also the connection I have with the group through Sam, because I met him 10 years ago at the 40th anniversary events. And I was supporting employees with disabilities at the U.S. Federal Department of Education, and I ran into Doug's work and saw in it a way to systematically address the challenges that we were facing, that we basically designed at that time had a presumption that users had full capabilities, but in Doug's framework, I saw that. So actually, I can share my screen here real briefly. Just one slide. And are you seeing it? Okay. Yeah, so Doug's original framework in a 1962 paper was humans augmented by language, artifacts, and methodologies in which they're trained. And by trained, it's more about developing your sense of mastery, at least that's how I see it, so that it's reduces the cognitive load. So you can drive a vehicle across town and you're not really thinking about how much pressure you're putting on the gas pedal and stuff. And then over the course of really from basically, he's got lots of ideas, but I've identified 4. I've been working with Sam. There's what he calls the way to manage content is the dynamic knowledge repository. There's co-evolving human and tool systems. And then this is the crazy one, concurrent development, integration, and application of knowledge. So that's the process. This is the technos, the techniques or technology. And then the people side of it is a networked improvement community, where you have trying to process improvement, and then the networked improvement communities are about improving the improvement process. So those are kind of this is kind of the framework, and I just I see his framework. I see it as one framework that's kind of evolved, and then he has other things that can map, I think, into this thing. Got to keep it to a reasonable number, and 9 is a good number. So.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Another disciple of Doug.
Awesome, thanks, Carl. Did you
Now that the segue to Doug Breitbart. I actually met, I guess we met at the Howard Rheingold course about 5 years ago.
Yeah, Rheingold, the Rheingold Club cohort contingent. So I have a little bit more of a checkered past because I've been in past life a player in the old paradigm realms of startups and early stage and turnaround entities, usually with a convergence in technology. I'm also an attorney, although I've earned my living outside the law for the last 15 years. And I am I've been working collaboratively with the partner in Argentina, Lansky, who's actually in the first cohort of the program Sam mentioned, Laszlo's new doctorate program in systems work. Fabian and I sort of rolled up our sleeves in service to figuring out what's the new paradigm. How do human beings do human beings differently, since we're the source of everything we're currently confronted with? If we keep doing us the same way we've always done us, we're going to stay headed toward an extinction. So how do we have to change us? How do we have to change our language, our perspectives, our thinking on a core and fundamental level? And the Reader's Digest version for us was that it has to do with putting the human being part of us first before you get to humans doing, and restore connection with experience as the governing frame for how we talk to each other, how we collaborate together, how we work together. And so we spent a couple of years deprogramming, unlearning, and relanguaging around what that might look like, and how to actually sort of, from a model and living and working standpoint, embody and do the new, rather than talking about the new. And so inadvertently it puts me in, I believe these conversations are the source of the new. They represent the model and the vision of our future now in the present. And so I've invested a lot of time. I spend probably between 30 and 35 hours a week in these kinds of sessions and conversations with people addressing and pursuing change and transformation, and how do we solve the problems and change the approaches to get ourselves in alignment. And in that function.
You muted somehow, Doug. So you were in that function.
In that function, I'm sort of the conscience of the human being, and so I sort of poke the bear when folks inadvertently incorporate or stir in the old paradigms into what they assert or aspire or intend to be new paradigms, and suggest that maybe there are new ways to be figured out about every aspect of how we approach the problems that face us, and how we define the values with which we're going to go about doing it, which is sort of even more foundational than what we're doing, or how we're going to go about it. So that's me. Fabian's my sort of embodiment of that is a Nacian not-for-profit called the Values Foundation. And that's me.
So I'm Heiner. I'm here with a newcomer. I expected to introduce the show and this team and co-host with Tammy, but I had to evacuate because the baby was crying. We are in a container village. So I'm now under one of the cranes, and luckily I had some light. I have,
all know me, so I can shut up by saying I just know Kay and Rheingold, and I'm happy to be with you. And my things are augmented and whatever meta paradigms and superstructures and super science. But all this is too technical, and I talked too much the last 2 weeks. So I shut up and give the voice to, who are you? Good evening. Where are we? Introduce yourself. Okay.
I've seen you downstairs a half an hour ago.
Pardon? Yeah, I'm Hardy. Good evening. Yeah, I coincidentally smashed into the organization of Makers for Humanity. Yeah, more or less surprised because I knew already that it will be a success. Starting very early with a lot of yeah, ambitious people, and I think we are heading towards a very, very promising future. Yeah, naming the child for me, this experience was again very inspirational. But yeah, we made a step together with Joy, Big Island. That was yeah, exemplary. Beispielhaft.
Thank you, my love. We've done a great job today and yesterday.
Yeah, so literally we are gaining access towards new lands. Like a good saying I remember in this topic, one cannot discover new land unless he's losing sight for a very long time. So I think, yeah, I see a lot of head nicking. Yes, we do have a lot of challenges alongside the way. Yeah, realizing and manifesting our visions, and yeah, I think we're making good job, everybody. So I'm giving every control up to Tammy because I have other things to settle.
Yeah, you said it.
Wonderful. Well, so nice to meet everyone. What do we want to talk about now? One of the things we've been really practicing is emergence, and I think we can all recognize that that together we know, but myself, I don't. So shall we dream into our next moment together?
Heiner, tell us.
Yes, let's do this.
So what is the channel? Are you general thinkers, or I actually don't have any context about with whom I'm speaking. I just was called into this conference and I totally enjoyed. It's just great to meet you.
So maybe I'll tell you.
So what can we do out of this precious moment?
So Doug, Tammy, and Joy is with me in this Media Creatives website. But this is not really important. It's one of the many social webs. It is building creativity and bridging and down burning the bridge before we get there. So anyway, I feel we are totally worn out. So I can just say this is an incredible surprise mix of people, and we've been surviving the launch of the island, and we do have drafts with Joyce since 20 years or whatever. So anyway, I wanted to bring friends together, and if we can come to a synthesis. I mean, data analysis is nice, but how about knowledge and wisdom synthesis and values synthesis? When I think about Doug, it is just that I want to make the connection. And maybe, Tammy, I didn't hear much about you. Maybe you spread your umbrella.
Well, I feel that I come from a very human perspective, really, and a sense that we're at a really critical time in the history of this world where we are waking up. And that looks like different things to different people, but what's really important is that we connect together, that we share our knowledge, that we share what we're working on so that we can help each other and access the resources that we need to progress our work. So us coming together right now as, some of us never having met before, I think we don't know how we can help each other, but the first step is to connect. And I'm really motivated by these live and generative conversations because I think there's magic here. And that in the old way of being, it would be transactional, but here it's actually just generative. Me knowing all of you makes my life richer, and that can be made tangible by us helping each other, because now we may know a little more about each other to be able to put together what we have. So one of the things that I do is generative conversations in small groups or one-on-one, so that people can create some media that shares what they're doing, so that they can share that more broadly with their of people. So I think that listening and holding space for what people are up to is an invaluable process, to be able to have people really curious and listening to what we each are doing. Because, if you guys look around the dance floor where you're dancing in your 3-day conference, there is so much potential and work and passion and connection. And I feel strongly that us demonstrating the new world through how we do in our communities, that's the work. And by finding ways to be able to see that between us and then share that more broadly, we can be this world that's birthing. Like, we are birthing the new world together. And so connecting in this way, seeing each other, recording and distributing when appropriate, those are ways that we can better connect each other. And so it's very human, but it's leaning into the technological to be able to facilitate that connection and sharing of knowledge and wisdom.
Yeah, it's magic.
This is my turn. I called it Magic Round Table. We played it with Joy already on the raft in 2000, and this sharing of gifting of time and attention and listening is very important. But the other thing which came out here is not just peacemaking and dialogue and deliberation and new forms of democracy, but how we link on different languages and different cultures and different belief systems. And it showed very much that here are very advanced people from Austria, for example, who are really in this multimodal, multi-sign and whatever mode. And I want to throw only one point out I did with Erwin Laszlo, as he was just mentioned. We, with the Council of Europe in '95 in the castle in Prague, presented it is not enough to have paradigms. Paradigms are something like ways of thinking. We were showing meta paradigms. So Kuhlewin said, I'm tired of all these paradigms. I'm tired of all these patterns. I want to see where they connect. And I would add in the deep. So we do it concretely with makers, with models, and not bullshitters. So we are not just think tanks, right or left wing, I don't care, but do tanks. So we are maker do tank here. Over.
Yeah, thank you. And also, thank you so much for this
Whoa.
conversation.
Yeah.
We also would like to, or at least I have the feeling to go and meet these people I met here again and do some mingling with them.
Let's invite them to our island, actually. And it's mobile. We can shift it to wherever you are. You just see the water tree and we come along.
That sounds wonderful. There's a big ocean between us.
Well, so we need to somehow work harder.
And yet we have the technology to bridge that ocean multiple ways.
Yes, we are doing actually right now.
Yes. I wanted to add a few of my personal notes to what Tammy is saying. I wanted to emphasize that what Tammy really represents to me that I find so valuable is that curiosity and generosity to really listen to each of us, each of you, and to really invite that so that there's at least, in the 8 of us who are here, maybe 9 of us, there's at least 16 to 64 to 72 conversations that could be had here. So we each can learn in depth about each other. And those are the conversations that Tammy is inviting us to have, and really inviting how what one person presents, how the other person presents, and then trying to find those connections and complementarity and those collaborative opportunities that then can be used to build what we want to build for the future. In addition to the relationships, in addition to exploring each other's values and principles and guidelines. So that's what we've been doing. I think Tammy's got thousands of these videos and audios that represent that work over the last decade or more. And just in the GCC context, we have probably somewhere around 140 of these videos, some of which take 3 or 4 hours, by the way. Very rarely do they end in less than 90 minutes. So anyway, there's a whole body of work that we can build upon, and that's really thanks to the generous listening that I think is brought together and symbolized, in my view, by Tammy.
Is this recorded, by the way?
This particular meeting is being recorded, and it's another one that will be in our community, if everyone agrees.
Oh, so Heiner, you can give us all the links and informations. That would be the easiest way, I think, because we will meet him downstairs.
I'm the bridge, and I'm the master planner. And you see, the treasure in this community is that we have really deep thinkers from, I think, Oslo, or from New Zealand, or was a Maori, or wherever you call it. So my real challenge is bridging not just national languages, but subject languages, because we always fight when we think we know but don't, and then we crash into the other community. So really bridging stakeholders and not blind voting without informed decisions. We called here at the session living democracy, not just liquid democracy. So to bridge all this together, I'm involved with, but I don't want to talk. I want to really tell you, I'm happy to be a little helper, pilot, and bridge.
So it probably is obvious, but I think at minimum, what Heiner might have told you is that this GCC community has currently 4 consistent threads of conversation every week. There's a conversation that takes place on Thursdays that is completely free-flowing, and just any topic is welcome. There's a Friday conversation being led and moderated by Tammy. There's a Saturday conversation being led and moderated by me. There's a Sunday conversation being led and moderated by Doug Breitbart. So these are only the ones that exist today, and I'm sure Heiner would give you the information about all of these different discussions, all of which you are all welcome to come and listen and see if it resonates with you. Over.
Thank you very much. Yeah. It's been a pleasure to meet you all briefly here. I guess now I mean, it was a surprise for me to come into this conference and meet you, totally out of the context. So now we are connected. I have you on Zoom, and I hope to join your conversations soon. And now I would like to say goodbye and join the crew or join the party. And I wish you a wonderful evening and see you soon. Bye bye.
Thank you so much.
Evacuation.
Yeah,
Have a dance for us.
I will do so. Bye bye.
Okay, thank you
Bye.
all. See you soon, hopefully.
Celebrate.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Good for now. We'll talk again soon.
Yes.
Awesome.